of our physiology test to race to your PB. Just basically, we're going to make you faster. We want to optimize your triathlon training, really to know what your FTP anaerobic threshold is at swim, bike and run. Most of us guess. Guessing just isn't good enough. You're going to get it wrong. So we can test with this VO2 mask and lactate testing on the bike, inside, outside. We can do running physiology tests. We can do swimming physiology tests in real time outside. Most of us have taken a 20-minute test, which might be right, but they can be as much as 20% out. Just taking a lactate test by itself can be 5 to 10% out and doesn't give you a lot of information. The test we now use is the test used by the pros, Peter Sagan, Tony Martin, Kona world champions. So anaerobic threshold, FTP, is not the average power you can keep for 1 hour. It is the steady state power you can keep for 1 hour. It's a big misconception. A 20-minute test just doesn't work. And if we look here in our 360 profile test, we're doing it in the swimming pool, we're doing it on the bike. Here we go, we're our Thai's national champions, came to see us. And we also do it running outside in real time as well. The body composition is very important. I bet you didn't know that a lactate sample, the result will be completely different for a male, female, a very fat person, and a very lean person. So a lactate sample of, say, 4 would have a different meaning for someone male, female, because it's soluble and it depends on your water in your body and how lean you are. From the results, we get to see your VO2 max, we get to see your VLA max. The VLA max is the lactate flux maximum. So for a marathon runner, Ironman runner, we want a very low VLA max to be able to keep your lactate at a low steady state. For a sprinter, 100-meter sprinter, or a kilo sprinter on the velodrome, they want to be able to access their power and speed instantly with a very high instant flux of lactate. Anaerobic threshold, known as FTP, fat max and carb max. That's the percentage of fat and carbohydrates you burn, seen here. So I can see at any given intensity exactly the percentage of fat and carbohydrates you burn. I can see your VO2, so I can see your oxygen uptake and demand to see if you are economical or uneconomical. Think of it as 3 energy sources to produce your FTP. Oxygen, VO2, glycolysis, converting glycogen to energy, and the third one, pyruvate, which is a product of lactate, which also acts as an energy source. So you need to train all 3 energy sources. We get a metabolic fingerprint showing your strengths and weaknesses. We get exact training zones for run, swim, and bike, and showing the percentages of fat and carbohydrate burnt at each and every zone. For the running test, we get to see if you have a good or bad economy. You can see that the dotted lines is a good economy and the solid lines is a bad economy. And that can be easily trained once we know what the issue is. Testing protocol, the swim, the bike, the run are similar, but will vary on each test. We're doing 3 to 5 different intensities and durations to give us a 360 degree of your profile. Here's an example of what we're doing with recovery periods in between. And we are taking lactate samples after each and every result to see what your recovery rate is and how hard you have tried during each and every phase. Now this is something interesting. Wetsuits. Different wetsuits can have a huge economy in the water. It's like aerodynamics in the water. Some wetsuits can save you 25 to 30% metabolically, which we can test in the swimming pool and work out which wetsuit or tri-suit is better for you. And here we are. This is Sebastian Weber, who is one of the top swim and cycling physiologists in the world, and he is my mentor who has taught me how to use this software and to make sure I'm doing the right steps. And again, as I said, you've got 3 different energy sources: creatine phosphate, pyruvate glycolysis, and oxidation. And your FTP is produced from those 3 different energy sources. So if you train the 3 energy sources together, you can see here, suddenly you got an extra 15 watts. This is a top pro, by the way. We can train your fat metabolism to burn more fat if you're going to be a marathon runner, Ironman, or less fat if you're going to be a sprint triathlete or a sprinter on the track. From the results of the lactate testing as well, I can prescribe exact training intervals. So for example, at 360 watts, I know he can do 1 minute on and 1 minute off. At 380 watts, I know he can do 1 minute on and 2 minutes recovery, and so on. And each person is different. One person might need 30 seconds recovery, one person 2 minutes recovery. So what we do, we take the guesswork out. Instead of guessing, yeah, I think I'm getting it right, it's nope, my coach is providing me with an exact fueling strategy, exact training and nutrition work. You know that you've saved pace, so you know you can take 20 minutes off your marathon time. It's not a guesswork. And we've got different people have different low fat burning, high fat burning, and we can change your metabolism with specific training. A marathon runner wants to have be a high fat burning. A sprinter would want to be low fat burning because they want to access carbohydrates as their fuel source. Running economy. Now this is interesting. Identical people, 3 athletes, physiologically the same. A poor running economy would do a 3:15 marathon, but someone exactly the same physiologically, the same FTP, the same VO2, can do 2:45. And that's the aerodynamics of running, and we measure that. So in insides, and what we do at JJ Pro, we want you to run faster, then you need to run better. So we're analysing not just your physiology, but we're analysing your running economy. Let's take a customer of ours. We tested him, bike, run, swim. We knew his weight, muscle mass, active muscle mass, and if he had carbo-loaded properly the week before, we knew he had 448 grams of glycogen ready to go, stored in his lower muscle mass. So we set him a pace, a plan, a pacing plan, a nutrition plan. I knew exactly the power he was going to ride at. I knew exactly how many carbohydrates he needs per hour. And I knew his gels had 20 grams in. So I knew he needed 7.5 gels for his 90 kilometer and 70.3. The same for the run. I knew he'd be running at 5-minute pace or 300 watts. And I knew exactly how many grams of carbohydrate he'd need. He needed 3.9 gels. So that gives us a balance of 51 grams left in the body for emergencies, transition, go a bit hard, etc. Now this was amazing. Wim, we planned 147 pace, he did 144. It was a PB. On the bike, we planned 205 watts, 235. He did 210 watts, 2 hours 32, which was also a PB power for 2.5 hours. Now the run was the best one. We set it at 305 watts, 455. He actually felt so good, he ramped it up at the end and did 315 watts, 444, which again was the fastest he'd ever done, even as a pure half marathon. And that's down to the pacing and the nutrition strategy. So if you want to run faster, bike faster, swim faster, you don't want to mess up race day. Most people mess up race day, pacing wrong, nutrition wrong, halfway through the run, and you die a miserable death. So if you want to race smart and reach a PB, please contact us Facebook, line, or telephone. Thank you very much.